welcome back to another Planty video. My name is Shannon and this is Planted 386. Thank you so much for stopping by if it's your first time. I understand there is a plethora of Planty content out on the internet for you to enjoy, so anytime someone decides to take a chance, I'm always super appreciative. And if you're returning, thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful to you and this little community we are building over here. This channel recently just hit 1 year on YouTube, and I am so excited to see where this new year takes us. And I just always look forward to chatting with you guys down below. So leave me a comment, let me know what your favorite plant is for this month, and without further ado, let's get into it. I'm sure you guys could tell by the title, but it is time for January favorites, and this is one of my favorite videos to make. I love watching my plants grow, and I love seeing which ones stand out from month to month and then referring back to those videos later on. So the first plant that I have to share with you is my Hoya crimson queen. So she's just a babe, not too big, nothing like spectacular, but I did just recently pot her into this terracotta, and I am loving the way that this is looking. She's putting out some beautiful new growth, which is exciting. And I know this is a really common Hoya. A lot of people have this. It's pretty easy to come by, but it's actually quite difficult around here to come by this. At least in my experience, I had wanted this one for a while, and I actually got this from a local grower, just someone in our local Planty community that brought some cuttings to the plant swap. And I was so excited to finally get my hands on one. It actually has taken this a little bit of time to get started. I am not sure why that is, but now we are starting to see some growth, and I am obsessed with this beautiful hot pink leaf that she's putting out. I have her in my Millsbow tall, and she seems to really like it in there. So I had her in just a small little like starter pot, and I did take a cutting. When my Hoyas don't put out growth, I find that when I propagate them or just take a little chop, usually that will spur on growth. I'm not sure why that is, but I just feel like it's kind of one of those things that's fail-proof, at least in my experience. And so yeah, I took a little cutting and I started that cutting in some moss, and so that separate cutting is actually right here. And so yeah, I'm hoping to continue to do so and just sort of fill out this pot a little bit more, maybe a couple more cuttings, and I will be happy, and we'll just let it trail and see where that takes us. But yeah, I just can't get over how beautiful these leaves are. And I think for being such a common plant, it's one that's just, it's not talked about enough. I think it is so beautiful. I love the white on the edges, and I just think it's stunning. So yeah, seems relatively easy to care for. It's in the Carnosa family, so I've had pretty good luck with Carnosa Hoyas, and yeah, I highly recommend. She's got tons of little growth points coming that I can see, and I think by no time, maybe by the end of the summer, this will look like a totally different plant. But that's where we are now, and I've just been really enjoying her this month. Next up, we have another Hoya. This is Hoya Sunrise, and if you've been around, you know that I've had this Hoya. It is one of my oldest Hoyas, and so for it to be this small is it's a bit sad. I have Hoyas that I've had far less time, and they just grow like crazy. But for some reason, I have had not the best of luck with this one until I would say the last few months. I moved it from where it had been living in my Blalladin cabinet. I moved it into my Millsbow tall, and from that point, it just really started to take off. I would say that this entire top section from like here up is new. So it just seems really happy, and I'm loving the way that it's sun stressing. I think these leaves are so beautiful. This is exactly what I was hoping for out of this Hoya. I remember seeing pictures of it online and thinking, my goodness, that is so striking with that like red sun stressing. But yeah, for some reason, like I said, it just didn't want to grow for me. And I think perhaps it was needing maybe extra light. The only difference between my Blalladin cabinet and my Millsbow tall is the color of lighting. So in my Blalladin cabinet, I have the Barina pink bars, and in my Millsbow tall, I have the Barina yellow-white bars. I don't know if that makes a difference. I've had other Hoyas that do really well under the pink lighting, but either way, she's got a ton of growth coming in, some beautiful roots. I am definitely thinking about cutting this again. I've already taken a couple cuttings, and similarly to my Crimson Queen that I just mentioned, chopping this plant seems to do it good. Since then, I have a couple new growth points that have kind of taken on, and yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I really am. I think taking a couple more cuttings will help me fill out the pot a little bit more, because right now it's just this one sort of vine. They do seem to grow pretty like compact, and that's interesting. So just something to think about. But what I'm planning on doing is allowing these couple new vines that I have coming. I'm planning on just letting them do their thing for a little bit, and then from those vines I will continue to chop and prop and hopefully fill out this pot just a little bit more. And I'm hoping at some point I'll have a nice full pot of this. But yeah, I think she's really cute. Really excited to see where we go, and it's just been a joy over the last couple months to watch her grow. I think I recently featured her in a recent video. I don't remember which one, but I've been talking about her quite a bit just because I've had this now for probably 2 years and it had done nothing for me. So to finally see it start to grow and grow really beautifully, it's pretty exciting. So yeah, that's where we are with Hoya Sunrise. Next is this beauty here. This is my Scindapsus treubii moonlight, and my, is she not beautiful. So this plant has become pretty common. You can find it pretty much at any Lowe's or Home Depot. I see them there all the time, even Walmart. There's her vines. But what's exciting about this one is I have a main plant that has lived out in my pergola for a while. And I enjoy her out there, but I think, I don't know, I just kind of wanted some pieces of her inside. So I'm not the best with like trailing plants in terms of pothos and, well, in the past Scindapsus, and I don't know what it is, but recently I've been doing really, really well with these. And so I decided to start propagating the one that lives outside. And so what you see here is essentially a bunch of cuttings that I have put into this pot. It's a self-watering 3D printed planter that I got from one of our local plant swaps, and I love this pot. It's really, really practical. The bottom here unscrews, and yeah, it just holds water down below. Anyway, she seems to really love it, and I just can't get over how much this has grown. And it started off as just little cuttings. Just enjoyed watching this form into its own plant, and I think for me that's the beauty. Outside of how beautiful this plant is, it's just been really fun to really grow this from scratch. So very rewarding. It's a very easy plant. It lives on the very top of my Millsbow cabinet. There is light. I have placed Barina bars up there, but in terms of lighting overall, it doesn't get as much light as, say, some of these plants do down here. And so, yeah, it's just pretty amazing to me to see how much this has grown, and I think it's turned into a lovely little statement plant. I am starting to feel like it's getting a bit leggy down here. I'm thinking about cutting maybe from here down and just sort of propping this. Perhaps selling the cuttings at the plant swap that we'll have in April. And also, every time I shut the doors of the cabinet, these vines are starting to get caught. So yeah, I think I just want a really full, there's definitely space back here that I could add some more cuttings. So perhaps I'll add a couple more back here. And I think my plan is to just kind of keep this looking full and bushy. I think that's so beautiful. I do like the trailing effect, but like this vine is fine. I don't know, I feel like this one is a little sparse in some areas. So yeah, I'm not crazy about like leggy plants. Usually I will chop them when they get that way. So I feel like that's coming soon for this one. But yeah, I just feel like overall she's doing so beautiful, and this is just, not only is it easy to come by, it's just a really easy plant. I feel like this is a great beginner plant. It's something that pretty much anybody can grow, you know, and I think it would look lovely placed anywhere throughout the home. So yeah, I just wanted to feature it this month. It's been really fun. It's really taken off, and yeah. All right, you guys, next is Anthurium spectabile. This is not a plant that I hear talked about at all, really. It is a strappy Anthurium, and this plant has gone on a journey. And so I looked up at it the other day and I was like, man, you have really taken off. Like, you're really doing beautiful. So to cover the story of this plant, because it's got a story, I got this, I don't have the date on the tag, but I would say probably October or November of last year, 2023, I should say. And I kind of purchased this to be an experimental Anthurium. It wasn't like as precious to me as some of the others that I had been buying. So I tried placing this in an orchid basket, and it lived in an orchid basket with just moss for probably 6 to 8 months. The moss would often get dried out completely. Like, unfortunately, this is one of the original leaves that it came with, which, as you can see, really, really beautiful, much larger than the rest of them. And over time, just living in that orchid basket, it just declined. Every week it would lose leaves, and I finally just decided, okay, enough is enough. It's just really not happy here. Even though it was unhappy, even though it was losing leaves, it still hung on, if I'm making sense. Like, it didn't just like wither up and die. So this is definitely a hardy Anthurium. I can say I've put it through the ringer. And so I basically decided to take it from that orchid basket, which I was probably only watering maybe once every 2 weeks. I had it in a position also where it wasn't getting the best lighting, and it was kind of like, I often forgot about it. So I placed her in this cool little pot that I found at the thrift store. It was just a pot with these little holes on the side, and so I turned it into a hanging planter just by adding some leather cord, or suede cord, I should say. And I ended up putting it in here, and just like my normal soil mixture, and now it's hanging by the door on the way out, and in that time it has pretty much restarted entirely. I could definitely split it up. There's multiple shoots coming out, multiple plants. But I don't know, I kind of like how bushy it's looking, and just, yeah, I just love the way it looks in this pot. And I love seeing it on my way out. It's just such a joy to see something come back from literally nothing. This is the largest leaf that it's given me so far in the restart, I should say. And there's new little leaves everywhere. I'm trying to be gentle because I don't want to crush any of them, but we have another one here. I know it's kind of hard to see with this cord in the way. There's another one there. And then we have new ones coming. I can see them popping up everywhere. I've thought about separating maybe 1 or 2 of these. I think there's, let me see, 4, looks like 5 separate growth points. I've thought about separating maybe 2 of them, but again, there's just something so cool about it looking so bushy. I love a bushy full plant. Yeah, I do think this is definitely ready for a repot, so that's something that I will think about doing here soon. I don't have another planter that hangs larger than this one, around at least, so it's something that I'll have to find a space for. And yeah, I'm thinking perhaps I do have a large basket outside where this could be beautiful in the pergola in the spring. It's just too cold right now to place her out there. So perhaps this spring you'll see her hanging in the pergola. But yeah, have you guys ever heard of Anthurium spectabile? Again, it's not one that I hear of ever. But in terms of strappy Anthuriums, I think this is a really beautiful one. And it's, like I said, it's really hardy. The leaves are understated. You know, there's not a whole lot to them. It's just a simple green leaf, but I think it's beautiful nonetheless. So yes, that's her. Okay, next up is my Christmas cactus. It's better late than never, but she is in full bloom. I actually have two Christmas cactuses. This one I got from Blue Moon Tropicals, I think December 2023. The one that I have hanging outside, I actually got a piece from my mother's plant, and it's very sun-stressed right now. It is in full bloom, but I need to go out and take a few cuttings of it because I am a little afraid I may lose her. She needed a repot many months ago, and she was just getting way too much sun in her location, and so I would hate to lose that one because it is a piece of my mother's plant. So that's something that I need to do sooner than later. But anyways, this one here is just looking so beautiful, and I have been loving this. I've been loving seeing her bloom. She's got some that haven't fully come out yet, and I cannot speak higher of Christmas cactus or Easter cactus or Thanksgiving cactus. I love them. I think there's a reason that it's such a common houseplant. They're just so cool. They're so easygoing and forgiving and easy to propagate. And when they put out their blooms, it is such a show-stopping and rewarding moment. I did pull her inside. She has and always lives in the pergola outside. But it's been pretty chilly here in Florida, so I hope you guys are staying warm out there. I know here it's been cold. I can't even imagine what the rest of the country is looking like right now. I feel for you guys. I hope your plant babies are okay. I have family that lives in Vermont, and I know that it was like negative 14 degrees yesterday, so that's just like, that's wild to me. I would not survive in the snow. But getting back to this beautiful plant, I highly recommend you guys. I just think that if they're easy to come by, you can find them anywhere. And they also bloom in multiple different colors. So if you're not a fan of this hot pink, reddish pink, then they have them in an array of colors. I think my Easter cactus blooms white. My other cactus, Christmas cactus from my mom's plant outside, also blooms the same, but she looks totally different because she is so sun-stressed. She's almost, instead of green, like a beautiful burgundy color. So they do sun stress as well. And I love the way that they grow in these little links. I know you guys have probably all seen a Christmas cactus, but I just wanted to show you this one in full bloom because I just think it is so beautiful, and you only get it one time a year. So while it's happening, it's something to appreciate. And yeah, I thought I would add her to the list this month. Okay, you guys, next on my list is this Anthurium marmoratum. I think the last time I showed this plant was in my Anthurium like collection video. This Anthurium has probably been one of my most difficult to grow. It has struggled for me. I had it in the house for the longest time. It refused to do anything, so I put it out in the pergola over the summer and just recently brought it in because of the cold weather. And here we have a brand new leaf, which is so exciting. It kind of came out of nowhere. It has been months, you guys, probably 8 months or so that I've seen this plant do anything. So yeah, I don't know why it's so unhappy. I've had a really difficult time figuring this one out. There's a couple leaves on here that are crispy and not looking so well, and I've been thinking about cutting those off, but in the same regard, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's one of those things. But yeah, I'll probably wind up trimming these two leaves off after the video, but I just kind of wanted you to see, like, its entirety and just kind of what I've been dealing with this one. So yeah, to see it producing a beautiful new leaf that's perfect this time of year, no crispiness, no deformity of the leaves, are just really beautiful. I'm kind of looking. Yeah, I don't see anything. It just blows my mind. It's been expanding over the last week or so, and it's just been such a joy. It seems to really like the spot that I have it in, and you'll see I'll put B-roll in of where I keep all of these plants, but I think I'm just gonna keep her there. If she's putting out leaves, that tells me she's happy. So I'm gonna leave her in this space. Even once the weather gets better, I'll just leave her there, and hopefully this is a sign of good things to come. Maybe it just took her time to regenerate. I did get her back in March of this year, or March of 2024. So yeah, I think it only gave me one leaf in my care, and then it just stopped doing anything. So like I said, I'm just gonna kind of leave her be, continue to water her as I water her, and yeah, just let her live in this space. But I wanted to share this exciting news with you because I was so hyped about it. Let me pull it in a little closer. It's also an anthurium that another anthurium that I don't really see talked about often. There's not a ton of care guides out there on the internet for it because I have looked, trust me. So yeah, I'm just kind of experimenting with it. Maybe perhaps one day I'll be able to talk about care. I've just been kind of waiting for it to do something. I thought actually at one point that I would have to restart it. So I'm glad that that didn't happen. It's not, this is definitely an offset. So it's like, I don't know if it's just putting on an entire new little plantlet and then it's just not gonna grow from the main stem anymore. I don't know. I have no idea, guys, but I'm just excited that we're here and we'll see what the future holds. Okay, so next I want to share with you guys my Euphorbia ghost and how crazy this guy has gotten. It's got this little cobweb kind of everywhere. It's definitely a little spider living in there, and I'm just gonna leave him be, let him do his thing. But yeah, I am just shocked at how much this plant has grown. I remember when these were like all over the place. Everybody was talking about them and it was so hyped. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. I got it when it was, geez, I'm not even sure it had these arms down below. It might have had a couple arms. And it's just lived in the windowsill over here behind the couch pretty much its entire life. It did live in this window over here for a short period of time, but I just decided I could never see it over here. So I moved it to this other window, and from that point, it really took off. So yeah, it's starting to put out some new shoots up here, and this piece actually was a piece that when we first got Samp, our boxer puppy, he accidentally broke this piece off. It was like freshly coming in, so it was pretty soft, similarly to this piece here. And I just stuck it in the pot and it totally rooted. So my next plan with this is to upsize the pot because it's definitely ready for a repot. I actually have a terracotta outside that's going to be perfect for this. And yeah, I'll probably do it within the next week or so, just get it in a larger pot. And I will separate this one here. We have a plant swap coming up in April, and I plan on bringing this little guy to the plant swap, this little separate piece. And I've thought about trimming off one of these arms as well and getting it to root, and then I'll have two to bring. While this has become more common, it's still a little bit difficult to get your hands on, at least locally around here. It's one that you would probably have to source from a grower out of town or off of Etsy or Palm Street. So it's definitely something that I would like to bring to the swap to add a little bit of variety to my table, but I just think this is such a cool plant. Like, if you know me, you know I love cacti, I love euphorbia, I love succulents, I love ripsalis. I think they are so cool in the way that they grow. And this is actually John's plant. This is one that he picked out, that he really gravitated to. And yeah, I've since fallen in love with it as well. It's just really stunning. Sorry about the cobweb, but I'm kind of a fan of spiders. I say that I'm a fan of small spiders that take care of the plants. I don't love huge spiders, but my other Euphorbia trigona also has a cobweb attached to it. I don't know, they just seem to be attracted to these plants. So keep that in mind if you're interested in one and you're totally afraid of spiders. Both of my Euphorbias have webs. It is what it is. There's no mealybugs or anything like that. It's a genuine spider. Yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd share him with you guys. He does have some little leaves that are trying to form all up and down the spine. This one here never gets like large leaves for me. They kind of stay small like this for whatever reason, I'm not sure. But anyways, I just think he's so cool. So cool, and he's an easy plant to care for. Super easy to care for, drought tolerant, and yeah, I would love to see this shoot up and get super big. Okay, you guys, another Anthurium I have to share with you. Another one that I don't hear talked about at all, really, is Anthurium clavigerum. So she's quite large and in charge. This is her newest leaf that she's putting out currently. It's a beautiful Anthurium that kind of looks, I don't know, it reminds me of Anthurium fingers to a degree. I do have her in no drainage here. Let's first talk about the vessel, because I don't often keep my Anthuriums in no drainage. I will do that when they're starting out, but once they reach this size, I typically have them growing in a nursery pot. But she seems to be doing really well in this vessel, and she still has plenty of room down here to grow, so I'll keep her in here for the time being. But this is definitely one that's going to, oh, I just snapped the leaf. It's going to do better when I show you pictures of it. But these are the leaves. These are how big and beautiful they become. Absolutely striking. Again, that's her newest one. But they become absolutely huge. And again, yeah, I just don't really hear this one talked about often. It's never flowered for me. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know, maybe it's just not one that flowers often. But I can't tell you how beautiful I think this looks overall in this vessel, just towering over. It lives on top of the Millsbow cabinet, and I just think it looks so striking up there. I'll definitely show you pictures of B-roll. But yeah, it's definitely taken off over the last couple months for sure in terms of putting out leaves. And yeah, I think it's really rather cool and interesting. It's really cool to watch the leaves expand on this one. They start out super small, just like most Anthuriums do. But the rate at which these expand is something really to be seen. And though it is not super talked about, I don't think this is a extremely rare Anthurium to come by. I feel like it's one you could probably look up on Etsy and find pretty easily. And I don't find it to be one that's super pricey. I don't remember exactly how much I paid for this, but I don't think it was a lot, you guys. Oh, I have the price right here, actually. I got it from EFG and I paid $25. I got it in October of 2023. So yeah, really interesting how it grows. The petioles are long, but I feel like the petiole to leaf ratio is pretty reasonable considering how large these leaves get. This is definitely one that I will more than likely keep in the pergola this spring once the weather gets better. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by this. I just think it is so cool. The only downside to this Anthurium that I've noticed is the leaves do tend to get a bit of browning. Unfortunately, I feel like that's more than likely a humidity issue, and another reason why I feel like this might do better outside. But yeah, it's just not time. It's not time to put it out there yet. Could definitely use a dusting as well. But yeah, I definitely wanted to share. I've been saying definitely a lot, and for that I do apologize. I really wanted to show this to you guys this month because it is putting out this new leaf and it doesn't do that often. So yeah, it's been really rewarding, an easy one to grow, and something different, you know, something different. Okay, so another one I have to share is Hoya khroniana. I'm not sure if this is Hoya khroniana splash or just Hoya khroniana. I'm not entirely sure. This is one that I found at a big box store, and there's no date or tag in here, unfortunately, but I repotted it. I often repot my plants after purchase. If you've been around, you know that. I have my reasons. I talk about it in other videos, but I had repotted this and it absolutely freaked out, as most of my Hoyas do. So I restarted it, and it's just crazy how much this has grown for me in the last month or two. I feel like it's finally established itself in this pot, which is exciting because there's plenty of room in here for me to add and for it to grow. I did place some of these little picks down on some of the vines to sort of get it rooted into the soil, but I feel like I'm at a place now where I could definitely take some props of this and get them to root in the soil. You can see at the top of the pot where I had issues with leaves dying off and things like that, but I think we are at a good place now. I feel like this is going to be happy from here on out in this little pot. And that's the thing that I've learned with Hoyas. It's like once you get them going, they really take off. This vine in particular is doing really, really well. There's new growth coming in everywhere. And yeah, I just have it living in the window behind us, and I will show you guys, of course, a clip. I think this is such a beautiful Hoya, and I've really struggled with Krohniana. I've had Krohniana super silver. I do have a few cuttings of that remaining, but I've really struggled with Krohniana in the past. So to have one that's looking good, seems happy, seems like we're in a good place, brings me a lot of joy. I check on her almost every day just to kind of see what's going on, and yeah, it seems to put out growth every day. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's really a fast-growing Hoya once it's happy. None of my Hoyas have ever bloomed for me. I plan on keeping this in the same location. I have heard that when you move your Hoyas around a lot, that could be just a side effect of moving them around a lot, them not blooming. So I'm hoping to keep this one in its exact location, and I can see little growth points all over, that little new vines that are coming. And so yeah, I think we're in a good place, and I'm really happy to have it in this larger pot because again, that gives me quite a bit of time where I don't have to mess with this. It is a no drainage as well, and it seems to really not mind it. So yeah, pretty happy about it. I did learn, I was scared when this wasn't doing well. I was afraid that I was maybe watering it too frequently, so I stopped watering it as often, and it's actually quite the opposite. I noticed it still declining when I backed off of the watering, so I just started watering it like I do the rest of my plants, and that's when I really started seeing amazing growth. So I think having this in no drainage actually works out in its favor because I feel like this could be a thirstier Hoya than some of my others. And yes, I know it's not like as splashy as maybe some that you've seen. This vine looks really nice, but it's beautiful to me, and I'm really happy to have it. If I can get the super silver one little cuttings that I do have going, I will just pot them in here. I don't plan on having 2 separate baskets of Krohniana. I feel like that's a little excessive. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll see where that goes, but I think she's quite lovely. These leaves are so beautiful. I have another Anthurium to share with you guys, and this is one that I share with you often, but she's putting out a new leaf. I wanted you to see it because it is, in my opinion, a showstopper when this one puts out leaves, and that is my Anthurium Crystal Red Michelle Cross Ace Crystal Red. Again, I talk about her a lot, but this is her new leaf. If I can get her into the frame. She's a big girl now, so it's kind of hard for me to show her. It'll probably show up better for you in B-roll, but my goodness, look how beautiful these leaves are. It is a multitude of colors, and I'm not sure it's even showing up on camera when these leaves emerge. It depends on the way that you shift, but sometimes I'll see like blue, sometimes I'll see red, sometimes I'll see green. Such a beautiful Anthurium, and this one has just been so easy to grow. I've had such a good time growing it, and yeah, there's not a ton to say about it other than I just think this is probably one of my most striking Anthuriums in terms of Anthuriums that lack veination, like, you know, the crystal veination. I did recently talk about in my wish list plants video for 2025, I did bring up Anthurium Ace of Spades, and I talked about in that video preferring the hybrid version that I have over just the plain Ace of Spades. And I said that I wouldn't be upset if one came my way, but I'm just happy with this hybrid, and I just think these leaves, it's something about the green of these leaves, and I don't know. Sometimes you shift it and it'll look blue, sometimes it'll look green, and then I just love these emergents. I think these emergents are so striking, and they look that way for a while before it fades off. Here's the back. Let me see if I can give you guys a shot. I'm trying to be so gentle with her because that leaf is very delicate right now. But yeah, that's the back of the leaf. So beautiful. And I recently just moved her from her spot over here in the Planty corner. I've kind of moved her behind us. I have another spot now where I'm keeping some of my really large Anthuriums, and I feel like she's one that I'm going to put out in the pergola in the spring because she's just gotten huge. My Anthuriums are growing at crazy rates, and I can't believe how big some of them are getting. I got this, I want to say it was October of 23, and it's just been such a joy. This one is one of my all-time favorites. I know I talk about her a lot, so I won't bang on and on about her today, but I did want to show you her emergent leaf and how much joy it brings me just watching. It's just a show. It's so beautiful. It's one that I definitely plan on breeding with. I did, to update you guys, I did pollinate my Vitarifolium with some of this pollen, and it didn't end up taking. So that was definitely an experiment. She does have a flower coming, and I have a bunch of Anthuriums right now that are flowering. So my plan is to hopefully breed her because, yeah, I think she's going to make an excellent parent plant. So stay tuned. I'll let you know if anything comes about. But yeah, that's her. I do have some super exciting news. I believe I posted a reel, maybe it was a few weeks back or so. I know I definitely posted it on TikTok, but I do believe that I posted it on here as well. And I took my large Queen Anthurium that had been living back here. She kind of grew up on camera. Like, I think I got her in March of 24, and I started my channel in January of 24. So she's pretty much grown up on screen each week, just getting larger and larger. And it got to a point where her leaves were starting to yellow pretty quickly after expanding. So I would have a beautiful, perfect leaf, we'll say, for a month or two, and then it would just start to yellow. And it was full. I mean, it still had the majority of its leaves, but they were just yellowing pretty quickly. And in my experience with anthuriums, they don't seem to do that. Like, most of my anthuriums hold on to their leaves for a while. I have a couple that give me struggle. I'll show you one in a minute. But she was definitely giving me struggle. And also, I felt like she was outgrowing the space. I just was finding it difficult to maintain moisture because I could only stack the moss so high in the pot. So anyways, I decided to finally experiment with propagating anthurium. If you've been around, you know most of my anthuriums I have been trying to grow out for breeding purposes, so I haven't really done propagation when it comes to them. And so yeah, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to propagate. And I did. I chopped my beautiful Queen Anthurium apart. I think I got 5 or 6 pieces out of it. And I am so excited to report to you guys. It's definitely a favorite. We have a baby queen leaf, and I have 2 or 3 more just like this. They haven't fully expanded. I just happened to look in the cabinet the other day and I saw that this leaf had expanded, and I just couldn't, I'm floored, you guys. But that is a baby Queen Anthurium leaf. It is so cute. So I have 3 definitely coming, and then I have a couple more that are still like on the fence, but I am so excited about this. I am going to let this leaf expand, and from that point I'm going to put her into soil, because right now she's just in moss. Now I will say all of my props had really good roots to begin with, because I had kept all of the aerials tucked away in moss. So I did have a great starting point, but I don't know, this was definitely an experiment for me, and I wasn't sure. It was a little risky because I absolutely love this plant. But I thought to start over with it and just kind of see how things go. I see a fungus gnat in there. Just see how things go growing it the second time around, because I'm not sure if it had something fungal going on or what. But yeah, I think it's going to be so fun to start over. I do have the main chunk also that's about to put out its first leaf. And yeah, the rest of these are all just cuttings off the main stem. So you guys, that is so cute. I cannot wait to see where this takes us and how long it takes for this to become, you know, a big, beautiful plant again. We'll see. I do plan on parting with a couple of them at the plant swap in April, but I do plan on keeping a couple for myself because I would like a big bushy queen. That is so exciting. I am just tickled over that. I forgot to mention, in case you're curious, I did take all of the pieces of, so all of these chunks, I did place them in my Mills bow, tall under 100% humidity, so I had them all cloached. I did experiment with one uncloached, and it is the only one that hasn't given me a growth point yet. There is a growth point there, but it hasn't done anything yet. I should word it a little better. So definitely keeping it in humidity is key. This leaf is still pretty soft, so I think it has a little bit more expanding to do. And yeah, I definitely think keeping it in 100% humidity is key. And I just wanted to add that in case you guys are curious and you want to try propagating some of your anthuriums. The leaf does look a little bit chlorotic because it is probably too much light, but I know in my experience when starting anthuriums over, they need that light, especially if there's no leaf for them to work with and you're just working off a chunk. It's better to have it be a little chlorotic than not enough light. But yes, you guys. Okay, you guys, next is one that I haven't had for very long, but it has grown like crazy since getting it. It was a wish list plant for a while. I believe I got it at the end of October, and or maybe it was even November. I haven't had this plant very long, but it is our musa banana, and I am happy to report that she is looking official. So if you caught the unboxing of this plant, you saw it come in and it was just tiny, tiny. This was actually the leaf that it was unfurling when it got delivered. And I know that because it was super soft when it came in and it got some cosmetic damage due to that. So these two leaves were definitely originals. And from then it's put out these 3 beautiful leaves. This one is still, it's not even, yeah, I think it's going to be huge. But look how stunning these leaves are, you guys. So my plan for this is to, let me take it out of the cash bow. I actually just potted it into this pot here from the original pot that I put it in, which was, I think, a 4-inch pot, maybe not even a 4-inch. Yeah, I think a 4-inch pot. So my plan for this is to continue to let it grow throughout spring and summer this year in a pot. I'll just continue to size up the pot as needed, and then spring of the following year, so spring of 2026 is when I will actually put this in the ground. The reason that I'm choosing to do it that way is because we do get pretty cold here. Right now, today, it feels like 38 degrees. So that's not, these banana trees, they don't love that. I have a couple that are outside now, and they're doing all right. We have 3 banana trees now outside. We have a Cavendish dwarf banana, we have a red Siam, and we have a, I think it's like a vanilla ice cream banana plant. And they're all making it, and of course they will bounce back, hoping that we don't get a super hard freeze. But I don't want to take the risk on this one. I mean, I paid $40 for this from the Green Escape, which is a really good price. These have been averaging about $100. So I'm sure that they'll come down in price and all of that. But because we waited such a long time for this, I just plan on enjoying it. You know, I plan on enjoying it as a plant in the pergola, enjoying the foliage, making sure I'm able to pull it inside next winter if need be. And then once it becomes solid enough and hardy enough, then I will put it into the ground. Also, the place that we plan on putting this tree, the soil is not the best. It's typical Florida soil, which is very sandy and often hydrophobic. So when establishing new trees, you have to ensure that you are watering it daily in order for it to be able to actually absorb the water that you're putting down, because oftentimes the water will just sit on top of the soil and just go everywhere except for to the tree. So I just want to make sure we really take care of this one, and I would love to see this become a big, beautiful tree someday. I know where I'm located, it's kind of wishy-washy with banana trees. All it takes is one hard freeze for these to kind of really take a beating. But hopefully this has been actually a harsher winter than the past couple years. So hoping, it's always a guess. We have citrus trees outside. We have a lot of risk out there. So this is not one that I really want to risk. And I've just been enjoying it so much. I think these leaves are so beautiful. I can't wait to see what this one's going to look like. It's gonna be a tall tree. But yeah, John and I have both been wanting this. We're both really excited to have it. I actually showed it to him today because he hasn't really looked at it in a few weeks, and I was like, babe, like, it is huge. So he was like, wow. It's amazing how fast these grow. And hopefully someday it'll put out some pups and we'll have some extra, but for now, that's what we have. I just wanted to give you guys an update. I think she looks amazing. I do have her in this pot so that I can keep an eye on her roots, but she seems to have taken to this repot totally fine, and yes, very happy to have her. Okay, so for this next one, we had to go on a little bit of a field trip. This is my Anthurium crystallinum, and I feel like it's fitting that she is in the favorites for January because she was featured in my very first video. The very first video I ever put out, she was one of my featured plants. I had 3 in that video, and this is one of them. The reason she is a favorite this month is because she is putting out this beautiful new leaf, which is so exciting, because the reason I haven't shared her since then is I bred her first and foremost. So my first experience breeding Anthuriums, I selfed her, and she gave me about 9 or 10 beautiful little seedlings. I have since given some away, and I have a few that I'll show you in a moment still around, but since then I put her in this massive pot because she was just getting huge. So she's in this huge pot, and she didn't seem to like that too much. I don't know if it was the repot or if it's this spot that she's in. I do plan on putting her outside in the spring. I think she's going to do so much better out in the pergola. I just don't have a ton of light to offer in this spot. I am using this sort of silly light here, which I don't really recommend. I mean, it's okay for supplemental until you have a better option, but it's been a really dreary winter. She's not been getting enough light. I think that's part of the problem. We have some crisping going on some of these other leaves, and yeah, she has put out an offset, which is super cute, but to see that she's given me this leaf, it tells me that she's coming around. I have been trying to water her a little bit more frequently than some of my others because it seems as though she requires it. I feel like that's why I'm getting some of this crispiness, is because she was getting a little bit too dry. I also don't have the layer of moss in the pot like I do the rest of my Anthuriums, so that's something that I could look into as well, but I know once I get her into the pergola, I think she's going to be much happier. It'll be much more humid out there, and I probably won't need the added layer of moss. I know I have my regale out there currently, and there is no added layer of moss in her pot, and she does really well. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Listen to these dogs. But yeah, I'm really, really excited to see this. It is one of my most precious Anthuriums. She has taught me so much. I have a ton of photos of her that I could share in potentially another version of my Then and Now series. I just put out, my last video was a Then and Now. I didn't feature her, but I will feature her. I plan on making that a series. I think it's really interesting to see where plants start and where they are now, their growth journey. So I have a ton of photos in my camera roll, and I have enough photos, I think, that I could do a few of those videos. So I definitely will feature her in one. This leaf is still really soft and has some more expanding to do. And so yeah, I definitely feel like it's sizing up. I think this pot is going to be fine now that she's established. It's just getting her into some better conditions. But I wanted to share it with you because it's super exciting. I am elated to see that. I've been really worried about her. And so yeah. Here is an example of one of her little seedlings. This happened the beginning of this year, so I would say I probably got these berries. Gosh, it's hard to remember. It's hard to remember, but it was definitely earlier 2024. So it's been a while. It took them a while to reach the size, and like I said, this is definitely the largest of the seedlings. I have 4 more in my care, and I do plan on parting with all of them except this one here. I'm definitely planning on keeping this one. I wanted to have one of my first babies that I ever made, and I have to say, breeding Anthuriums is such a fun experience. It is so rewarding to take a little well, first of all, to take the inflorescence and watch it become an infructescence, and then watch the berries form, and then to take the berries and to plant the berries and to get the berries into actual little plantlets. It's so cool, you guys. So I don't know. I think she's so darling, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I did just recently pot her into this larger pot, and it looks like she's about to give me another leaf. This one is fully hardened off now. So yeah, it'll be just a matter of time before she gives me the next leaf. And I also felt like this is good insurance in case something happens to my mother plant. I have one of her babies, and yeah, you guys, it's so much fun. I loved the experience in its entirety, so I'm excited to try and breed some more for sure. But yeah. Okay, we just have a couple left, and the first one I have is my Anthurium magnificum crossed forgetii. So this one was just a tiny little baby January of last year. I got it gifted to me from some local growers. They go by Planted on Etsy. I'll put the name up on the screen. And yeah, they gave it to me as just a tiny little babe. And I just can't believe it. We're finally at a little plant. The reason she is on my favorites is because I had her kind of tucked away. I've moved everything around over here because my anthuriums, as I stated, are just, they're becoming so big, I'm running out of space very quickly. And that is why I keep talking about moving some of them out into the pergola in the spring. I'm just trying to hold out for this weather, but I had her kind of tucked away. I didn't see her for a while, and then all of a sudden I look and she's got this cute new little leaf coming, which is super exciting. There's definitely some spider mite damage on here, so I have treated her a couple times. I'm hoping that they're under control. I'm always battling spider mites, and this time of year it's worse than any other time of year. I think just because of the drier air, and they always seem to want to attack the fresh leaves. This leaf does seem to be hardened off, at least for the most part, so I don't see it sizing up any more than that. I am kind of wondering if this is ready for a repot, because let me look here. I don't see any roots poking out of the sides, but the leaf did not size up larger than the one prior. So I don't know if that's just because it was kind of cramped in its spot, or perhaps it wasn't getting enough light. I've since taken it out of that spot and given it a little more room. So we'll see what happens with the next leaf that it puts out. But yeah, I just think she's so cute. She is definitely a mixture of both. I can definitely see magnificum. I can definitely see forgetii. The sinus is totally fused like forgetii, but it still has the lobes. And yeah, I just think the venation is really pretty. It's not, you know, super crystally or anything like that. It's just beautiful. It's got that beautiful sheen when you kind of move the leaf in the light. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where this one's gonna go. I think it's gonna make a potential great parent plant. It has not yet flowered for me, but I feel like a flower is not too far out. I wouldn't be surprised actually if this leaf here puts out a flower. But yeah, just excited to see where we go with this one. And I've just enjoyed growing it. I love when anthuriums start out as little tiny babies. I love seeing them grow. In fact, I still have an original little leaf on there, so you can kind of see like the size up. But yeah, that is her. I thought I'd share her with you this month because it was quite a surprise for me to see this little leaf. She doesn't put out, or at least in the past, she hasn't put out leaves like as frequently as some of my others, and that's another reason why this was pretty special to find. And yeah, I just wanted to share her with you. I also want to add that the variation of these leaves is quite interesting. So this one here looks very resemblant of forgetii. Like, look at the sinus. So, or I'm sorry, of magnificum. The split sinus. and then you get the next leaf here, which is very reminiscent of forgetii. So yeah, I'm just really curious to see where this goes. Okay, you guys, and last but not least for this month is my Anthurium papilillaminum. I have been talking about this plant quite a bit within the last couple of months because it has just, it's blowing my mind how beautiful, how striking this plant is. It was one that was on my wish list, and I finally found it last year at Equigenera. I've talked about the story of this plant a few times on the channel, so I don't want to talk about it again in case some of you have already seen it. But essentially, it was a recent import when I purchased it. It did well, and then it started to rapidly decline. This is the one that I am referring to that's kind of like my Queen Anthurium, that gets these sort of yellow edges, and little by little the leaf sort of deteriorates over time. So I'm not 100% certain if that's fungal or what that is. You can kind of see that there. But anyways, the reason she's a favorite this month, she's a favorite every month, but is because not only has she put out this beautiful leaf, it's kind of hard to manage this pot. She's getting to the point where we're gonna have to go on a field trip when I show her because she's getting kind of heavy and hard to maneuver, but this leaf is just like, it is absolutely beautiful. It does have some cosmetic damage because I have moved it around. I have recently repotted it as well. It was growing in this cabinet behind us, and I felt like that could be partly why it's getting these yellow spots. Either perhaps it's getting too much light, or the pot perhaps wasn't large enough. I'm not 100% sure, but same thing with my Queen Anthurium. Both of these were growing in the Millsbow behind me, and so I am experimenting with moving them into ambient. I plan on doing that with my Queen when that comes back as well, and just growing it in ambient conditions. But yeah, so you're gonna see some cosmetic damage on this leaf. Unfortunately, I did repot it while this leaf was still unfurling because I kind of felt like it was necessary. The pot that I had it in, the roots were definitely like just taking over. I felt maybe that is also another reason why it's yellowing. I'm just trying to eliminate all possibilities. But yeah, I could look at a pappy leaf expand every day of my life for the rest of my life and still be in awe. I think it's probably one of the most, it is probably the most beautiful Anthurium in my collection when it comes to emergent leaves. And I also love how dark green they get. It's the darkest Anthurium that I have in my collection, and that's something that I talked about on my recent wish list, is adding some more really dark leaf Anthuriums. But just looking at the back as well of this emergent leaf, it's quite impressive. It's quite impressive, you guys. Just look how beautiful that is. The sinus, the venation, really everything about it. And in addition to this beautiful leaf, it has put out its first flower as well. So you can see it's kind of coming out of, I believe this is called the spathe. I'm pretty sure, you guys. But yeah, I'm definitely planning on breeding this plant for sure. I mean, look at the size of this flower. Crazy. So I did pot it into this pot. I'm hoping that it's going to be happy. This is pro-mix soil, which is my preferred soil. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where this goes. I know I say that a lot, but the amount that this plant has grown since I've had it, I also had to restart this from a chunk. So it's just amazing to me. It's just amazing to me how resilient these plants are. And like I said, I'm just excited to see where it's going. I'm also enjoying its new location and the contrast that it brings to the spot that I have it in. Of course, I'll have B-roll for you, but yeah, if you don't have a pappy and it's on your list, I highly recommend. It's become one of my favorites for sure. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you. These are my favorite videos to film. I love sharing my favorite plants with you. Please tell me below what your favorite plant is of the month. I am so curious to know. I wish that YouTube had a feature where we could share photos. If you're not following me over on Instagram, do so. I also have Facebook and TikTok, and then maybe we can kind of share photos back and forth. I love chatting with you guys in the comments down below. It's one of my favorite things about the platform. And yeah, I am currently working on an Anthurium care video, so I will have that out for you guys soon, as well as a Q&A repot and chat. I would like to do one of those soon as well. So stay tuned for a post where I'm asking you to ask me questions that you may want answered in terms of me or my journey or just plant care in general, just a Q&A, because I've never done one before. And I said that when we hit 1,000 subscribers, I would do one. So it's definitely on my list of things to do. I wish you guys an amazing week. I hope you stay warm. And until next time, I'll see you guys.